Okay, let's do a little video about my scanning and my scanning process. So let's start from the top. I have a bunch of different scans, but they're fairly similar. So let's start from top. So I have a different scan for ADR stocks because nowadays ADR stocks, which are foreign stocks traded on the US markets, they are sorted separately in TC2000. They did, up until like a year ago, they weren't. So minimum price 1, volume 40,000, minimum dollar volume, it says 15,000, but it's actually 1.5 million. And ADR, average daily range in percent, the past 20 days is 2.2. So I want the average daily range, which is the intraday range. It doesn't count for gaps. So if a stock gaps up 50%, that gap up is not going to affect the average daily range. Well, it will affect the average true range, which is down here, which is measured in dollars and cents. And I have it down here. And average daily range I have up here. So this HGGM, which is a piece of shit microcap stock, almost 25% in average daily range, and that is absolutely insanely high. For example, a stock like Facebook only has 1.06, or Netflix, which has 1.49, or Tesla, which has 2.63. So the higher number, the more volatile it is. So 2.2 is my cutoff. And let's look at the formula real quick. So I got it from someone else. I just converted it to the TC2000 format, and yeah, you can use. It doesn't matter. Well, you can use the 10-day or the 30-day or whatever. You don't even have to use this indicator. I just like it to weed the slower moving stocks. Basically, I want stocks that have range. So I get 78 items in this scan. I just go through this list to get setups every day. I go through this list. So I have the biggest 1 month gainers. It's basically the same scan, a little bit higher dollar volume, a little bit higher ADR. And I also want stocks that price growth 1 month. This is basically a rank. You can choose it in when you make a scan in TC2000. This is something you can choose. You can rank stocks based on different criteria, and I want the 3% strongest stocks in the past 1 month. And this is a trend intensity. This is also a custom indicator I got from a site called stockb.blogspot.com. His name is Pradeep. He's a great trader, and he has a free blog on stockb.blogspot.com, and he also has a free not free membership site, but a paid membership site called stockb.biz, and that's where I got this indicator. It basically is how much, I think it's a 13-day moving average, has how many percent that is above or below the 65-day moving average or something like that. It's basically a trend indicator. You can read up on it on his blog or on his site if you want to. So trend intensity 90, it means the shorter moving average is no more than 10% below the faster moving average is no more than 10% below the slower moving average, while a number like 110 would mean that the faster moving average is at least 10% above the slower one. So I like to scan for momentum. This is a pure high trend intensity scan. All the stocks that are where the trend intensity is over 108, and then my liquidity criteria and ADR criteria. And then I also have different time frames. This I do once per week, these B scans. So the highest ranked stocks, I think it's about 2-3% on all of these time frames I scan for. It's the same scan like this 1 month gainer, but just different time frame. I have my OTC scan for OTC stocks. So a little bit lower price criteria, a little bit higher ADR criteria, a little bit lower volume criteria, just because these are more volatile stocks, and most of the time they are thinner names. They're not very liquid most of the time. Recent IPOs, if you've been seeing my videos, you know I like recent IPOs because they can really make big moves, and they tend to fall, like technical analysis works really well on them, like momentum kind of trading works really well on, in periods at least, on recent IPOs. They can make insane moves. For reasons I'm not going to talk about right now, but I may do it in a later video. So this is a scan, and then I put a column here, price growth rate 1 year, and what I look for are recent IPOs that are younger than a year, so they won't have a number here because they haven't traded for a year. So there's about a little bit over 100 recent IPOs in this scan that fit my criteria. This one I don't really use. This one I don't really use. This one I don't really use. So 5-day gainers. Another very short-term momentum scan. Here are the criteria, and these are just stocks that have been strong the past 5 days. And this is where I usually find my best short ideas. 5-day losers. I don't usually find many good setups here, but sometimes I find some good meaner version longs in this scan. Biggest 1-year losers, like this scan has given me a lot of winners, or actually this one and the biggest 2-year losers. Basically the same thing as my other scans, but instead of scanning for winners, I scan for losers. So I scan for the 3.45% weakest stocks in the past 2 years, and in this one, and in the past 1 and 2 years. So and these kinds of stocks have really worked very well lately. Actually, in the past year, since the market bottomed February last year, this scan has had a lot of big winners, because there's been a lot of stocks beaten down to $1, from double digits to maybe $1 or something, and then they double, triple, because they get so cheap. So those are the scans, and many of these scans I put in one watch list, today's momentum watch list, which I also have a scan for intraday, where I scan for stocks that are up in this list that fits certain criteria. Today's momentum watch list scan, so it scans this watch list only. So the criteria are at the high of the day has to be above yesterday's closing price, and today's range percent versus average daily range. So let's say if the average daily range for a stock is, just to keep it simple, let's say it's 10%, which is a very high number. So this scan picks up all the stocks that are up at least 55% of the average daily range. So in this case, it would mean at least 5.5%. Now this is an extreme scenario, but just to illustrate. This is like these are intraday scans. Like these scans, these I do nightly or once per week, and these are intraday. So this is, I scan for micro cap names, basically micro and small cap names. This is the criteria, nothing fancy. So this is, I scan for stocks that are up at least 7%. These are usually stocks with news. breakout scan. This is similar to the average this scan here that I just showed you, but it scans for every stock in the US stock market. And well, here's the criteria for it. Then I have also an intraday scan for the ADR stocks, just to see which ones are up on the day, because that's what I'm interested in. Also have a scan for the OTC names intraday to see what's moving. Like these scans are to see what's moving on a day and to find breakouts early. And then I also have a scan for the biggest 1 and 2 year losers, because stocks that I scan for here every night, every evening, or actually every morning for me since I'm in Europe. These are more to find stocks to anticipate breakouts or stuff like that to have on my watch list. While these scans, these are like to see if I find a good breakout that I didn't pick up on my scans. So to find stocks that break out in real time or that gap up on news, etc., etc. Stuff that's not on my watch list. Then I also have an ETF scan and Canadian stocks, but I don't really trade Canadian stocks. But sometimes it's just fun to look at them. So those are the scans pretty much. I'm a little bit pressed on time, so I can't really talk much more about them. I'm just gonna do a little bit scan for 5 minutes. I've done most of my scans, but not all of the stocks, so just gonna. So this is, I'm actually long this thing in one of my accounts. I had great earnings. This is a ultra low float stock, making a big move. There's really nothing here, no volume. If this can keep up going up, let's say it goes to $10 today, picks up more volume, say over 1 million, then I would be interested to short it for tomorrow possibly, to have it on my short watch list. This one had earnings, but the better buy would have obviously been either here or here. This is a third earnings gap up. Not big probability of follow through. So this one had some random move up on Friday. This one I'm long, but actually they have data any day. I forgot to check, so I hope they don't release bad data pre-market. I'm definitely gonna sell it today. Because this thing could gap down 50% on bad data, and I have a bunch of shares on this thing, so I don't want to lose multiple 5 figures. No setup here. Now this one I was thinking about buying on, what is it? Friday, Thursday. This is Wednesday. Thinking about buying, but it's hard. These things that are a few weeks from data, they can have big moves, but you never know which day the data is released, so it's a little bit of a gamble, right? This thing could very easily go to 7, 8, 9 before the data, and then gap down 50% on the data or gap up 50%, but just too much of a gamble. Just a random biotech. Now biotechs have been very strong. A lot of biotechs broke out last week. This one is my short watch list. Another one. So I'm gonna do a video about what to look for exactly in setups. Well, this is that's what I do. You can use the down arrow space bar to just go through hundreds of charts in like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or so. I really like this platform for scanning, both intraday and daily scanning. A watch list management, like I have a lot of watch lists, like different kinds. You know about these watch lists, my daily tracking watch list, and then I have different kind of sectors and just random watch lists that I use. Okay, that's it for today.